Hi guys and welcome back again. So let's have a look at the brand new Unlimiter module here. Now the track we're listening to here is going to be by an artist called Julian Maverick, and the track is called Frequency. And here it is. So if you like the sound of this, go and check out Julian's music, another artist from here in Australia. So I'll give you a blast. Okay, so I've got two examples with this track. One I've kind of created myself. But first of all, I wanted to show you this in a situation where maybe the pre-master could do with a little bit more transient information. So the Unlimiter module allows you to restore dynamics, basically. So if material has been heavily compressed or limited, it can allow you to dial some of that transient information back in. So let me show you what I mean. Let's just cycle a bit of this track. Okay, so we can set a threshold here. So that's the point above which the transient information is going to be increased. And the amount of control is going to be how much we're going to be increasing it. Again, let's push that to the extreme so we can really hear it. So that's what I always like about, as I said, these Ozone modules, is that even at the extreme settings, they appreciate the fact that we're dealing with mastering here and you don't want to go, completely crazy. So even, at that setting, it's not like completely ridiculous. But let's dial it back now. Let's use delta to hear what's being added. Now here we can obviously gain match from the plugin here. Alternatively, we could use the output gain here to enable us to kind of try and bring down the overall level that we're boosting by increasing the transient information. Okay, I'm going to reset that and use the gain match here. So let's take it in and out. Okay, so if I was mastering this track, what I'm looking for, if I put this module on, what I'm listening for is, am I increasing a sense of space, especially kind of front-back perspective? So I'm boosting up the transient information. That's going to mean the transients are obviously going to be comparatively louder compared to more the sustaining information. And that should increase the sense of perspective, because I think if I was mastering this track, which I have done for another video series, I didn't actually master the track for release, but if I was mastering this track, I would have a feeling that the transient information and the sustain information was a little bit too close together, like there wasn't enough separation. So what I'm listening for is, am I increasing the sense of separation and bringing the transient information out? So to me, it's doing a great job of increasing that sense of front-back perspective. Now, there's nothing stopping us, obviously, using these controls in conjunction. So we can try and move these in, put these in a different order, but let's work with bass control that we looked at last time and see what it's like if we combine these two together on this track. Okay, let's try bringing up some of the sustain. Okay, so let's try and tame the peaks a little bit as well. So that's without both those modules in. I like that. I feel like we're losing a little bit too much low end. So there we've kind of enhanced the transients and we've controlled the low end. Let's take bass control out and see what it's like. Take them both out. Sorry, just bass control. Okay, let's try putting Unlimiter after the bass control module and see what difference that makes. Yeah, I think that's my favorite combination. We've kind of really solidified the bass, and then using Unlimiter, we're kind of bringing out some of that punch, but we're bringing out more of a consistent punch, I'd say, because we've already controlled the low end. Yeah, I think that's sounding like it's definitely improved things. Okay, so this is more of an extreme example, I suppose, of this. A deliberately kind of over-limited version. Let's bring in another instance of Ozone here. So you can see on the meter here, it's very kind of pegged here. So let's see if we can salvage this. This is more of an extreme use of Unlimiter. Now we can also use this learn threshold option, which is going to automatically set the threshold depending on the input level. So let's take that in and out. So it's pretty magical how that's brought all that transient information back in. And it's really done that across the board, across the frequency spectrum. Now I wonder if we bring in bass control again. Let's move the Unlimiter here. And with bass control, it could maybe be an area we could bring out with the punch. Okay, let's gain match and take them both in and out. Pretty pretty impressive. Now, it's definitely not as good as it would be if it hadn't been over limited in the first place, of course. The best thing is to not create the problem in the first place, but that's definitely improved it. So that's the new Unlimiter module. So that allows us to rebuild transients that have been lost. We can boost the input. Like so, and you can see actually the meter here, because our level's -14, and this is showing us down to -12. We actually don't have a waveform display visible. So now we can actually see that. If we set the threshold now, so we can do that using a bit more resolution here. Output gain we can boost or cut as well. Delta shows what we're adding in. Yeah, it's done a great job of rebuilding the transients and also therefore enhancing our sense of front-back perspective, because we use transients to determine how close or far away something is from us. So imagine if someone was hitting like a drum very close to you, you'd get that big snap of the transient, whereas if they were hitting it much further away, 100 meters away from you, obviously it would be quieter, but the sound would actually kind of travel through the air and the transient information would get lost. The high frequencies wouldn't travel as far. They would get comparatively reduced compared to the lower frequencies. So you'd lose that snap of the transient, which has got more high frequency information. So whenever you want something to feel like it's coming from closer or it's coming to you from a shorter distance, you increase transient information. So more transients means something appears closer. So if by using Unlimited on this over-limited version of the track, we're therefore able to comparatively increase transients, where by definition we're going to be working with those kind of binaural cues that our ears and our brain use to perceive distance. So the transient information increasing means that suddenly the sustaining information is going to feel further away, because we've increased the perception that the transients or the information with transients like drums and vocals, potentially vocals depending on the vocal. Yeah, mostly drums, the punch of the bass, if it has any transient information, depends on the bass sound. Any information that has transients is going to be suddenly appearing close, and that's why we're increasing the sense of front-back perspective. Okay, so let's carry on looking at Ozone 12 in the next video. So I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.